If a non-Muslim offers goods for sale, and you like the goods, and the price is right, and you buy from the non-Muslim and you did not buy from the Muslim, you have done absolutely nothing wrong. The day you start saying, I must buy from my Muslim brother, you are destroying the free market. Because the market does not discriminate between Muslims and non-Muslims. No. MashaAllah, what a beautiful religion. Scholars of international economics at the State University of Binghamton in upstate New York, who were the most advanced in thinking on this subject, came to the conclusion that the last free and fair market that the world experienced was the market of the Ottoman Islamic Empire. So the Prophet said no for the third time. But he said we can pray to Allah to bring down the prices by increasing the supply. So value can fluctuate. Even the value of gold can fluctuate depending on demand and supply. But at no time does money have a value other than the value that Allah has given to it. So now we can answer the question. The reason why it was riba for the dates and not riba for the animals was because dates were used as money. And if I could give you 1 kilo and you give me 2 in return, you open the door for the money lender, isn't it? Come on, isn't it? Yeah. I give you this much, you give me that much in return, higher. So you open the door for the money lender. This is the essence of riba, he said. Once it is money on this side and the same money on this side, it must be equal to equal. The reason why it was okay for camels was because animals were never used as money. I work for the whole month and I get my salary, and my salary is a goat. You heard that one, didn't you? Yeah. So I'm taking the goat home, and the goat fell down in the ditch and died, and I reached home and I told my wife salary died. So she said, go tell the boss. I don't think she's here, is she? I went to the boss and I told him, boss, salary died. He said, but when I gave you salary, salary was a lie. So animals can fall ill, animals can die, you can't use animals as money. As a consequence of which you can exchange 1 camel for 4. Equal for equal, hand to hand. Other than that, it would be riba. So if there is a transaction, particularly with the Islamic bank, if you have a transaction in which I am writing a check for you, because you know the bank never buys the house, eh? No, the bank never buys the house. That involves unnecessary legal fees and so on. So all the bank does is write out the check for you. You go and buy the house. So if I have a transaction in which there is an exchange of money for money, And it's the same money, Malaysian ringgits. I hope I'm not being unfair to Malaysia. Money for money. I am giving you money and you are giving me money, the same money. It has to be on the spot, cash. It cannot be credit. It will be riba. That's the implication of hand to hand. Prohibited. It is prohibited to have a financial exchange of money for money if it is the same money as a credit transaction. This point has come out for the first time in my public lectures. I never explained it before because I did not understand it before. So welcome to money in Islam. Do you mind if I call it Sunnah money?
No.
Good. But that's not all. This money is also in the Quran. Because the dinar is in the Quran and the dirham is in the Quran. What they did was to first send their armed forces to occupy and to colonize. And the process of colonization was not only to rip us off and to make London rich, and New York rich, but more than that. The process of colonization was, among other things, for the purpose of taking our money out of the market and replacing it with something else. What they replaced it with was something, a monetary system that at the beginning could not be clearly understood. But then came 1944. What happened in 1944? Bretton Woods Conference. And out of the Bretton Woods Conference, what emerged? The International Monetary Fund. So at least from 1944 we have no excuse. What came out of the process of decolonization was a new monetary system in which money is no longer something with intrinsic value. Now, I should have mentioned, and I forgot to mention, that in these six, money is either precious metals or articles of food consumption. So you can't ban it, the government can't ban it. People need it to food as food, see? They could ban the gold. Articles of food consumption which are in abundant supply in the market and which have a shelf life. As a consequence of which we say, well, if you are in the Indonesian island of Java and you want to bring back Sunnah money and you have a shortage of gold and silver, what would you use as money? Rice. And if you were in Cuba and you got the news that Fidel Castro doesn't smoke cigars anymore, and you want to bring back Sunnah money and you do not have enough gold and silver, what would you use? Sugar. Sugar. Okay, and remember, brown sugar is better than the white sugar. So, what they did was to take the good money out of the market. In the process of decolonization, they first removed the real money out of the market and replaced it with this money which, number one, has no intrinsic value. None. Number two, they are creating wealth out of nothing. Out of nothing. And so they are playing God, hence shirk. The system started, however, with dust in our eyes. That at least one currency had integrity. Only one currency had integrity. And that was the US dollar. Because it was redeemable in gold at how much? 35. It was redeemable in gold at $35 an ounce. But then after that, they reneged on their obligation, and finally, even that redeemability was torn up. And number two, only governments could bring their dollars to redeem it for gold and not people. We came to the conclusion, therefore, that this entire monetary system was bogus, was fraudulent, was haram, and that it was used to rip us off. That they could just print paper, and buy whatever they want from anywhere in the world, and we will ship all our resources to them, of which the most important was oil. And all they had to do was print paper and ship it to us. What will Allah do? What will Allah do to an ummah which has so disgracefully abandoned the Quran and abandoned the Sunnah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam insofar as money is concerned? This is a bitter hadith. It is seldom ever quoted. Seldom. It is narrated by Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. It is recorded in the Sunan of Tirmidhi. And the Prophet ﷺ prophesied, يوشك أن يأتي على الناس الزمان لا يبقى من الإسلام إلا اسم ولا يبقى من القرآن إلا رسم مساجدهم عاملة وهي خراب من الهدى علماؤهم شر الناس ممن تحت أديم السماء من عندهم تخرج الفتنة وفيهم تعود. It will not be long before that time will come when nothing will remain of Islam but the name, and nothing will remain of the Quran but the traces of the writing. The masajid at that time of those people would be grand structures, magnificent buildings, iron and steel, multi-million-dollar buildings, and when you want to make wudu, you don't have to turn any tap. No, there's some kind of electrical beam, and you just abracadabra and water starts falling. Wow, this is progress. مساجدهم عاملة وهي خراب من الهدى. Grand structures but devoid of guidance. علماؤهم, the religious scholars of Islam, of those people, not all, ulama'uhum, the religious scholars of Islam at that time and amongst those people, would be the worst people beneath the sky. From them would come, and they would be the centers of fitna, means to which people are tested and tried. When you fail, you're corrupted. What do we do?